I'm Jenna, and today I'm going to tell you how to mount a snowboard. It's a pretty simple process, but there are a lot of different options and a lot of different ways you can set up your board. So the first thing you want to do is figure out which foot you put forward. A good way to do this is to have somebody give you a little bit of shove. You'll keep your dominant foot in the back, and this is going to be the foot you'll want on the back of your snowboard. The majority of people actually ride with their left foot forward, but there are a lot of people who also ride with their right foot forward. Now after this, what you want to do is figure out how wide you want your stance. For somebody just starting off, it's pretty easy to just go with the middle holes on the board. That's going to give you the most balance and the easiest control over your board. You can also choose a little bit of a wider stance if you're going to be riding in the park. This is going to give you more control over the length of your board, and it's going to keep you a little bit more stable for landing tricks. Now there's also different ways you can angle your bindings on your board. For somebody starting off, a lot of people actually will keep their back foot straight or angled just a slight bit out, maybe 6 degrees or so. You'll also keep your front foot angled at about 15. People who have been riding for a while and want to be able to ride regular and switch, meaning your other foot forward, might actually angle both feet out about the same. This means when you're riding switch, it's going to feel just like you're riding regular for the most part. If you're riding in the park too, a lot of people will angle their feet out, probably 15-15 on both sides, or 15-15. And again, this just gives you more control over your board, and it's a better transition to your edges. So now we're actually going to mount the binding. All bindings are going to come with a plate like this. You slide it right into the binding. You decide what angle you want it at, and then you line it up with the holes. Now you simply have 4 screws that are going to slide right into the plate of the binding, and then you just tighten those all up individually. Now you really want to make sure you have these tight, but even after riding a couple times, they will loosen up. So it's good to carry a tool on you. They make a lot of these small tools that'll fit in your pocket of your snowboarding pants or your jacket. And then from time to time, you can check and make sure that your bindings are still tight. So once you have all 4 screws tightened, you can actually take the binding and try to put pressure on it. It shouldn't be shaking, it shouldn't be moving at all on the board. And that's going to tell you that it's tight enough. Now, most bindings are actually going to come with a leash and a stomp pad. The leash goes on the front binding, and what this does is it keeps, you actually connect this to your boot. If for some reason the binding was to come undone, it keeps the board attached to you and from flying down the hill. This is something that a lot of places will check for, and you do need to have with you at all times. Another thing you want to make sure you have on you is a stomp pad as well. This is going to go right in front of your back binding on your board, so when you're riding off the lift, you only have your front foot strapped in, you put your back foot right on this, and it keeps you from sliding around on the board. So after you're done mounting the binding, you want to actually adjust it to the boot, because you don't want to be screwing around with that once you're on the hill in the cold. So the straps of the binding should actually be hitting the boot right in the middle. It shouldn't be shifted off to one side or another. And they give you a lot of different options as to how to adjust that. In this case with this binding, you'd simply unscrew this and move it back if you needed to. Some of them will actually have the toolless adjustment. And then you can just pop that open and you can make this longer, bring it in, but it should be, again, just fitting right over the boot evenly. So you basically just want to make sure that the boot is fitting properly in the binding, because if it's loose or if there's any kind of movement in there, it's not going to give you the proper response, and you're going to lose a lot of energy transfer between the boot and the binding and the board. So mounting your bindings is really easy. It's simple. You can do it yourself, and you can also adjust it from time to time too. You're not stuck with the stance that you set it at to begin with. You can change it once you progress. You can change it to different styles of riding, and it's very simple.